Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys out there? Such a beautiful day here in New York. The sun is out, spring is springing, and I am super inspired today. We have an episode that you won't forget. You're going to get so much energy out of it, so much inspiration from these amazing guests, and I'll give you a little bit of info about her. She has 20 years of experience in the field of yoga and mindfulness. She's a leading authority on healing and growth, founder of Breathe With Me Yoga. She has influenced thousands of kids to connect with their mind, body, and spirit through breathing, relaxation, and mindfulness. Incredible. She's also a speaker, coach, and author, founder of Rise2Wellness Inc. And she uses her own experience with postpartum depression and anxiety to work with a wide range of individuals, inspiring and empowering them to navigate and overcome stress, anxiety, and depression. And she's also a founding partner of the League of Giants, where she is on a mission to change 100 million lives. And I'm one of them. I mean, just by knowing her, my life has changed. I can attest to that. She is Melissa Ross, incredible, incredible friend, incredible woman, incredible human being. Thanks so much for being here, Melissa.
Hello, and thank you for having me. It's so good to see you.
Yes, we've been working on this interview. I'm so happy that we connected and made it happen and have you here because there's so much to chat about and so much to share these times. These times are challenging for everybody. So I am happy that the winner's journey is bringing peace awareness, peace to our minds, peace to our souls and our hearts through these incredible people that we bring. And let's chat about you. Let's chat about you. What's happening lately? What's happening lately? And for those who don't know, you introduce what you do?
Yeah, I will. So with that amazing introduction, you talked about Breathe with Me Yoga and you talked about Rise to Wellness. So I'm up to lots of things. Breathe with Me Yoga is a children and family yoga programs. It's a business that we've taught since 2014. Children and their families, children separately. We start teaching from 2 years old, and it's incredible to see what the kids can do with yoga. And what we're into right now with the pandemic and everything that hit is something called storytime yoga. I created that during the pandemic when everything got shut down, and we're in creation of that as a TV show right now, which is completely exciting. We were just talking about this before we came on. And so I ran 100 episodes of that in 2020 when the pandemic first hit, from March to November. And all of those episodes, there's a different book for every episode. And so we do breathing, and we use our handy breathing ball, and you'll see what that looks like when you check out the videos on YouTube. And that helps us to slow down our breath. And then we take a book and we find the yoga within the book. But we don't just do that. We actually find the message in the story that the author is getting out there. And we anchor in that message. So we do a relaxation at the end, and we do a body scan, and we really relax our body. And then while the kids are relaxed, we anchor in the message. We do I am affirmations, and we anchor in the message that we learned in that book. And we learned it in a playful way. So kids walk away with that message, but they also walk away with, burning off that stress energy in their bodies. They walk away nice and calm because we've done the relaxation. So that's my biggest project right now. I'm really excited that that is headed to TV shortly. I just got the email from my production company that the last of the first set of episodes is coming to me this week. So within the next couple of weeks, we should have that. And that's going to be on the In the Limelight channel on Binge Networks with Clarissa Burt.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And the fact that you're bringing that to children, can you share? Because a lot of people don't know, probably, especially the adults who has never practiced yoga. What influence can this have on a kid? Like how much can that impact the children's life?
Yeah, and I'll tell you a story to share that. I love that question. I love when people ask that question, because often I have parents coming to me saying, well, what if my child runs around? What if they don't pay attention? What if they don't do the class? Because we do start them at 2 years old. And that little age group is 2 to 4 years old. I keep it very small and very tight because of our children's developmental stages, right? So they're in a developmental stage that's different from, say, our 5 to 9 year olds. And so we think they're not paying attention. We think they're running around and they're not doing anything. But often, if the child isn't paying attention in class, they go home and they do the yoga poses at home, and they start showing the yoga poses to mom and dad, or they sit down and after, say, a session, like 8 weeks of coming, they'll sit down and they'll go like this with their fingers, and they'll sit cross-legged and they'll put them in their lap and they'll sit down and do some breathing. And I watched it happen with my own kids. It was about, oh gosh, 3 or 4 years ago. My daughter was about 6, 7 years old at the time, and we were at my mom's house, and she was eating breakfast. We had slept over that night, and she was eating breakfast, and she coughed. She choked on a piece of egg or something, and so she was coughing it up, and she went, "I just need a moment." And she put her hands out like that, and she just closed her eyes, and she just breathed and centered herself. And so it's incredible to see what they're actually picking up and what they're learning. And what they are learning is that breathing, and they're learning how to use that breathing, when to use that breathing, when to know in their bodies when they need a moment to themselves and sit down, how to read their bodies. That relaxation at the end, I mean, we're jumping around, we're having fun with the book, and we're anchoring in that message at the end. But what we're really teaching them is how to lay down on the floor and be quiet and allow their thoughts to come in. And we talk about them as little flies, as flies buzzing in, and your thoughts buzzing in like flies. So they're learning how to let those thoughts be there, but also go into their body and scan their body and relax it and listen to their body. Because how many adults are out there that don't know what their body is telling them, right?
Yes,
And so we're
yes.
teaching them to that at a young age. Listen to your body and know what it's telling you.
It is so important because it affects our health,
Mm-hmm.
our mental health as well,
Yep.
physical and mental health. It's so important for the kids, and you're teaching them to manage emotions because
Mm-hmm.
that they're just by your daughter going, I need a moment. She knew something's happening in here.
Yep.
Let me take a moment and ground myself instead of probably either crying or the other ways that we express our emotions. So being able to teach that, I can imagine. To
Yeah.
a
And
3-year old, it's incredible.
it's
It's
so
yeah,
important. So important to teach them now while they're learning, and they're feeling into their bodies and growing and trying to figure out what everything means. Because I mean, I wasn't taught that as a kid, and as an adult, I had to learn that. And most times we learned that after. And I don't like to say broken, because I don't feel like people are broken, but we
no,
often learn that after we've been learning it through a big lesson, right? We've come
yep,
down with an illness, or something has happened, some major catastrophic event has happened, and then we start to learn it, right? So
yep.
how incredible is it to learn it while you're young and while you're growing, and not have to go through that catastrophic event, right?
Exactly, exactly. Bringing healthier, happier youth and adulthood. That's I love it. I love it. I love it. So this is when is this is launching like anytime now, right?
Yeah, I literally just got the email this morning that the last episodes, the first 8 episodes, are going to launch all together. So within a couple weeks, it'll be out. I'll get those episodes this week. I'll review them, make sure everything's okay, and we'll be off to the races.
Wow. What else is happening in your world? This is a big, I think this is the biggest project. I do production of as well, and I know that this can take
Yeah.
sometimes up to months when you're creating such a big, project because you have to create the episodes and wow. Since when have you been working on this? This has been a
It's
while,
been
right?
it's been a while, yeah. So I was invited for it to go to TV actually last January, and I really sat with that, and sat with what that was going to look like, what production was going to look like. We were in the middle of pandemic here, so we couldn't go into any professional studios to record. So I actually took some time to learn the equipment, learn about the cameras and all of that kind of stuff. And at that time, I had decided I was going to bring kids in through Zoom and have the kids interact, and so I scheduled all of that. And so by last summer, I was recording with all of the kids. I had created the episodes. I was starting to tape with the kids. We got about the first 7 episodes taped last summer, and sent that all to the production, post-production. And we decided it just wasn't the quality, that the quality wasn't there. It wasn't the vibe we were looking for. I wanted it to be a little more professional for TV. So at that time, we reworked, and
Wow.
I went into learning again. Do I get better equipment? Can I go into a studio? And then by the end of the year, by December, I was ill for a bit there. I was down for a couple of months and sick there. But by December, I had a studio booked, and I had decided to go that way with it. And then this January, we were in the studio, and we've been in a couple of times to record all of the episodes and get them going. And it's been in post production now with the studio, with the production company, all of this time. So for the last few months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I
You
can't
know,
wait.
I'm most excited because I mean, you don't just throw a TV show together. I mean, I had a jingle created, and that was a whole creative process, and that took months. With I had one person, Tim Burt, he created the music, and he wrote the jingle, and then Stephanie Madsen, a great friend of mine, Rachel Smart, her daughter Stephanie Madsen, actually sang the jingle, and so we got all of that recorded. So that took a few months, and then I mean, then you need an intro, right, for the TV show.
Yes.
And so that was conversations too about what that should look like. And I went to my guy who I thought was going to do this great intro. And he said, no, I think it should be a cartoon. It's for kids. And so that was another whole process, is getting this cartoon intro made. So, I mean, that's, you know, how much work goes into all of that, right? So
Absolutely.
it's been a big
Absolutely.
creative process.
Awesome. Thanks, Jade. Somebody saying congratulations. It's a great project. Yes, it is. Yes, it
That is
is.
my friend Dawn, and we're going to talk about Dawn from Pierce Media Group in a minute too. Yeah.
Yeah. So what else is happening
Yeah.
here?
So the
There's a
first,
lot.
yeah, there's a lot going on. So the next thing I'll mention is an incredible tour that I'm involved in September in Florida. It's called the Upgrade Your Life Tour. There's going to be some incredible speakers there. That is September 17th and 18th. And we've got tickets on sale right now at the upgradeyourlifetour.com. Les Brown, Waldo Waldman, Tom Ziegler, who's Zig Ziglar's son.
Yeah.
Who else? Hercules. Kevin Sorbo, who is Hercules. There's a huge lineup of people, not to mention some of the giants are going to be there. Nick Smith, Ryan Morris, they're going to be there as well. My good friends Tony Schmeltz and Laban Ditchburn are putting that event together. So I'm really excited about that,
Wow.
gearing up for that, getting my keynote ready. And I'm looking forward to seeing everyone there in Florida in September. So that's an incredible project, and then Don Pierce Pierce Media Group. It was created by Don Pierce, and Pierce Media Group consists of 3 radio stations, 2 TV channels, and a magazine. And the magazine is really what I wanted to talk about today. It's called Harmony Chronicles. And I'm a contributor to the magazine. I'm also one of the editors, and it's been such a labor of love. It's been a joy to put the magazine together. I'm really excited about it. And right now, our April issue is out. It just came out a couple of weeks ago, and you can find that on piercemediagroup.com. Go to the Harmony Chronicles tab there, and you can read the magazine. So I'm
Wow.
excited about all of that.
Can you tell us more about the magazine? Yeah, the
Yeah.
content.
The magazine is a musical magazine, so I would say a half to 3/4 of it is all music based. There's interviews with musicians. In the April issue, we actually have an interview with a musician that's in Ukraine right now with everything that's going on. And so he's talking about how life is from his perspective, and how he's moving forward with his music, with everything going on there. So there's always a couple of interviews. There's a look ahead into what some of our past musicians are doing now, what projects they're working on. There's recipes, there's a lifestyle section. So there's always a recipe in every month. And there's a travel section. So we have a couple of travel bloggers that are in there talking about their travels. Routinely Nomadic is one of the travel sections, and they've been traveling for, I think it's 5 years. They've been traveling
Wow.
around. And so there's
Wow.
lots of amazing stories about all the places that our travel columnists go, and lots of neat pictures. We do have a photographer as well that takes most of the pictures in the magazine. And then there's a couple of columns. So my column is a mental health column. It's called Mental Health Minute, and so there's always, you know, an inspiring column about mindset, and having that positive mindset and taking care of our mental health. There's another column by Tim Steinruck called The Inner Self, and again, he talks about personal care, and he is a musician, so but he talks about that self-care, and how as a musician and as a coach he delves into that self-care and helps others. So there's that travel section, the lifestyle, the recipes, and with a heavy focus on music. It's a really cool magazine.
I see you so passionate about every project of yours. I admire that. So my question here is, how do you manage to do all this and stay sane?
It's self-care. It is. I mentioned self-care and I mentioned mindset, and it's self-care and it's boundary setting. Like, if I feel like somebody's coming at me too hard, or there's too many projects coming on, then I really do set those boundaries. And I make sure I actually take every Sunday to myself. And we were just talking about this with the Pierce Media Group, and because we have 3 radio stations, we have DJs that are working weekends, right? And I
Yes,
mean, that can't be helped. It's a 7-day week job, and we talk about self-care with the whole family, the Pierce Media family, and we talk about taking Sundays off. And if you're on the air on Sunday, make sure there's another day that you're taking off and taking it for yourself. And actually, we just had Easter weekend, right?
yes,
And we ceased business through all the 3 days of Easter weekend, because I mean, family is important, recharging yourself is important, and you can't be all of that to everybody else if you're not there. And so I get up every morning, I meditate every morning, I have my journaling process. I'm not perfect, I fall off of that stuff sometimes, but I created self-care for myself, and one of the things I love is water. And you and I have talked about this before.
yeah,
Water just is so cleansing. I do my best thinking in the shower. So when I'm rushed, I make sure that I have the time for a long shower, so that I can really think things through, and really get emotions out. If there's anything that's bothering me, I cry it out in the shower. I deal with things under the water as the water's cleansing me, and I really make sure that at least once a week I'm soaking in a bath with my favorite
yes,
bath salts, and that's my time to just relax in the water. And yeah,
yeah,
April is saying that self-care is important. It is.
yeah,
And
it is.
and that's how I manage that. I actually schedule in my self-care on my book. I have there's only so many business meetings that I'll take in a week. My self-care, my appointments are scheduled in, my self-care is scheduled in. I actually have a sticky note that I move to every week of the calendar that says schedule me first. And I remind myself, and that's
Oh,
the
I
only
love
way to do
that.
it.
I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. Talk to us more about that because, well, as creative, and well, we was working with either visual artists or performing artists. I think it's the most challenging crowd, and I can say that for myself because we have so many ideas, so many things come to mind. I am one
Mhm.
that used to. Now I am being more careful on that. But when the
Yeah.
idea came, I want to do it. I want to make it happen. I want to do, and then we start filling ourselves with all these projects and all these things to do. So, what schedule me first? What is that all about?
Yeah, that means that when I look at my schedule for that week, even if I'm looking forward and I'm booking in a business opportunity, I'm booking meetings, or I'm trying to find time, if I know I need to write my column, then that column gets put in my date book, that this is the time that I'm scheduling for myself to write that column. If I know that this week I'm going to a chiropractor appointment or a medical appointment, that gets scheduled in first before any other business or networking. And I look at that week, and if I have someone that in business that wants a meeting and it's not an urgent meeting, then I'll look at my week and say, okay, I've already got 2 personal appointments scheduled, I have to write this column there, it's scheduled in. and this is my yoga night, and this is the day I'm going to have my bath or whatever my self-care is, it's getting a little heavy. It's that week is looking a little heavy. I don't double book myself. I don't back myself in and go, okay, well, I'll have my bath, but I'll get these 2 calls in first. I don't do that. I keep it very loose. I keep it very open. I get scheduled in first, and I'll flip to the next week for that business meeting and put it in the next week. And if it's not urgent, it doesn't have to, you don't have to make it urgent. And I think sometimes we see the things pile up in our inbox and we think we have to deal with them right away. And I've gotten really good at going back to people and saying, thank you very much, I've received your email, and I'll answer it in sequence.
That
And
is awesome. That is awesome.
you know
Yes.
and acknowledging it, acknowledging that it's there, but that, I mean, I was actually just down sick for a couple of weeks, and I've had to say that to a few people. Thank you very much, I received your email, I'll answer it in sequence. I'm getting caught up, right, from the last
Yep.
couple of weeks. And I'll get excited about things too. I have a few projects around the house that I'm actually really excited about getting done, but and all morning I was actually thinking about them, wanting to delve in, and I was like, okay, no, you're centering, getting ready for the podcast, that can wait till after. And I have some business things that I need to record, some business videos that I need to record this afternoon, and I keep saying to myself, no, you just let that go over there, because it's not the important one. The priority today is to get those business videos done. I'm excited about getting those things done, and normally I would just let my mind go and go over to them, but it's about talking to yourself and having that mental chatter, going, okay, what's more important? Here's my
Yes.
time, this is my cutoff time. I do have cutoff times as well. Usually when I have my kids here, by the time they're home from school, by like 4 o'clock, I stop business. I have
Yeah.
dinner with them. Once they're in their showers and showering and getting ready for bed, I'll go back to my computer for an hour or so, but then I cut off as well. And I make sure that I'm done by 9 o'clock on those nights. When the kids aren't here and I can work through a little bit and have a little bit later dinner, then I cut off at dinner time. And you have to walk away, even though there's always going to be
Totally.
something there, there's always going to be something there, but you have to have those cutoff times and walk away.
Yeah, and I think with like what you said at the beginning is like, let's not wait until you get sick or you
Hmm.
get the wake up call, because your body's gonna give you that. I've been through it, and then we learn, right? It's better
Yeah.
to do it before that happens. Something that I've learned and that you mentioned it's how we make things urgent. So we create this urgency on situations that could probably wait, because we think, this is the way it should be done. And that goes, I am one that it's like, so I'm committed to the project or
Yeah.
committed to replying. Now I'm taking that one slowly. It's not an emergency. I actually put and my partner was laughing because I put a sign outside my office door, and it says, only, knock and interrupt me only if it's an emergency. And what constitutes an emergency? It is life or death. The Pope just passed. And, World War III just broke. If it didn't happen, do not.
I love that. And I tell that to my kids all the time. If I tell them that I'm don't unless it's an emergency, I don't want to see you out of bed, or
It's
I'm working
not.
on this for an
Yeah.
hour, don't interrupt me for an hour. And I love what kids think is an emergency. and
Oh,
and I
goodness.
often am caught saying, is
Please.
someone dead or is there blood? Blood or dying, that's the emergency right now, that's it.
For them, it is, the younger they are, the more urgent things become, because I
Yeah.
have my granddaughter who's 3, and it's like, have to do the ponytail. She'll interrupt my whatever I'm doing just because
Yeah.
she has that emergency happening.
Yeah.
She has a beauty emergency. She's into that. So I
Oh,
understand. Yes, but it's great to have you and to talk about this. I love this. We need more of this. I'm always interviewing. It's really difficult and challenging to interview a founder, a CEO, a leader who's saying, "Okay, we need to take a break." So this is awesome to chat about. There's Tell us more tips, because I love that one. I love that one. Book me first. I've been doing that when it comes to personal meetings with
yeah.
doctors and all that. Of course, you can't run
Yeah.
away. And my Saturdays are blocked, but I don't work Saturdays, so my Saturdays are for myself and my granddaughter. That's grandma's day. No one take that one away. But the book me first, I'm loving. I'm going to I think I'm going to implement it more like you described it. Other tips that you can give us?
Yeah. Well, I want to touch on something we talked about earlier, and because I mean, you're in the middle of a big project this week, and
Yes.
there's an actual deadline for that. I mean, the day is Friday, right? Earth Day is coming, and I'm excited to be involved in Earth Day, and have Storytime Yoga on your huge broadcast on Friday. So let's bring light to that, to your event on
Yes.
Friday. But we were talking earlier, we were talking before about how much work it's been this week, and how stressful it's been, and because
Insane.
there's so much work,
Insane.
and and I know, and I recognize that we have deadlines, and I recognize that we can't always step back and say, no, I'm first, because the work has to get done. Sometimes the work has to get done. But we really do create that urgency sometimes. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
um, and we, and by not, by, and I know, and I get that you have all that work this week, and that's happened to me too. I mean, when we get to the deadline, when we get to the end of a month, and Harmony Chronicles is coming out at the beginning of the month, we're down to the wire, and sometimes you got to put in the extra hours to get it out, and to get it published, right? But what I've recognized, even with myself, with Harmony Chronicles, is, is there some of that work that I could have done along the way? Did I leave some
Right.
of that work until the last minute, thinking, oh, we've got plenty of time to get that done? Did
Right.
I put something else ahead of that work that maybe didn't have a deadline, and I put significance on it, or I put that urgency on it that I didn't need to put on it? So I really encourage everybody to watch that. Most of us busy people, I was at the chiropractor a couple of weeks ago, and he said to me, what Netflix shows are you binging right now? And I said, I looked up, I was
Ow.
laying on the table, he was working on my neck, and I looked up at him and I said, I don't have time to binge Netflix. I don't. I said, maybe the odd movie here and there. My kids like to watch movies, maybe the odd movie here and there, but I don't have time to binge. And he was like, good for you. That's incredible, and I really sat with that and thought about that for a while. And I recall a few mentors saying, if you think you don't have time for something, look at where your time is going, and ask yourself, when you're sitting in front of Netflix binging, is this helping me to get towards my goal? So I
Mm.
would say to
Yeah.
myself, okay, if I'm binging in front of Netflix, is this helping me get towards my goal? Sometimes it is. Sometimes I do need to just sit back and do nothing and turn my brain off. And that Netflix movie is allowing my brain to turn off. It's allowing me to not have to think about anything. So sometimes my answer is yes, this is helping me, because this is the self-care that I need right now, is to sit back and just not think of anything and let someone entertain me. Sometimes if I've watched 3 movies in a row, it's not. The answer isn't yes. The answer is no. At this point, I'm procrastinating. It's not helping me get the work done on Storytime Yoga, or, get my keynote ready for September. And I encourage everyone to constantly ask yourself those 2 questions. Is this helping me get towards my goal, the things that I'm doing during my day? And am I prioritizing the things that actually need to get done? What urgency am I creating that's not actually there? And where's the priority? If I have this deadline down here, what can I work on now to slowly get me there, so that the week before I'm not going like crazy and staying up till midnight getting the work done, right? And
Totally.
and
Totally.
yeah, and it's something I've needed to learn myself. And I'm not perfect. I've fallen too and gotten so stressed out that I'm down for the count. And continually I've done it, and I pick myself back up and I go, okay, let's remember, this is what we need to go back to, and this is what we need to be doing.
Totally. I agree with you. Something that I feel is like the energetic part of it. It's how much energy I'm giving to a project. So I know that it comes a point when I have divided my energy between, let's put it to you this way. I've divided my energy between the project for Earth Day, but then I had to also give some energy to the magazine that's launching with that project. And the energetic part of it, it's like in different, it's like a river. That's how I envision my energy. It's like a river going here, going there. So the streams get, thinner and thinner, and usually we need the whole stream going to that same. And one of the things that I do not like to do is multitask.
Yeah.
Because of that, it's like I need the full stream of my energy going into this now, so everything else is going to stop. If it can wait, it's going to wait. If it cannot wait and it can just go by, if it's a minor detail, it's okay if it didn't get done. Next, and let's move on. But it's the stream of energy needs to be here. That's where I am right now with, with Earth Day. After this afternoon, that's it, my stream goes there, and I forget about everything else, because
Yeah.
otherwise it doesn't happen, right?
Yeah, and that's a good, that's another method for people to use at the beginning of your week. Say on a Sunday or a Monday morning when you're starting your week, look at your week and think, what are the top 3 things that are important this week, that have to get done this week business wise, right? Because you're
Yep.
scheduling me in first. Always look at your
Right.
schedule and schedule me in first. So if it's a doctor's appointment, if it's a treatment, if it's a massage, if it's your self-care, your bath, if it's a walk, whatever it is, schedule it into your calendar, write it in first. And then, what are my top 3 business priorities that need to happen this week? There's non negotiable, they need to happen. And where can I put those things where I'm not going to be interrupted and where I'm not going to be taken away? I mean, we're master procrastinators. All of
Yes.
us, the human
Yes.
race, we're master procrastinators. And why?
Yes.
It's usually because we're fearful of it. It's usually because we need to figure out how to do it. We don't know how to do it. We're scared of it. We have some kind of fear. So we procrastinate it, right? And we do all the fun little things. Oh, this is just a little fun thing. I can get this done and get that hit of joy, right? But at what expense, right? If we're
Yes.
doing all those fun little things over here because we have the fear of doing the thing that absolutely has to happen this week, then we're down to the crunch. Now we're stressing ourselves out at crunch the night before trying to get it done because it is actually due the next day, right?
Yeah.
But what would it look like and how would it feel if I actually just faced the fear and felt it and walked with it and did the thing at the beginning of the week before the night before it was due? Do you know what I mean?
True. True. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm thinking of the other side of the coin, because I'm on the other side. I'm not a procrastinator. I have to say that. I am a compulsive, have to do it now. So it's like, we have to do it. We have to do it. I don't have the can wait part of it.
Yeah.
So, but that is also not good. I mean, that can also stress you
Yeah.
unnecessarily, because everything is urgent. We have to do it now, right? It is good for projects. Maybe because I work with deadlines. It's like
Yeah.
constant deadlines, but you also realize how, like, it disappears, right? After the deadline, it's gone. So I've learned to put that perspective of what's going to happen next week. Is this going to affect me or not? And if it's not, okay. But I'm pretty sure there's a lot of those like me, that we have to do it, we have to do it, we have to do it. And we need to learn to pull the brakes there. So there's those two different ones.
I'm guilty of that with my emails because I see emails in my inbox and I think, okay, I've got to get back to those people immediately and I've got to do it now. And I think I was conditioned to that when I first started my yoga business back in 2014. I'd have people messaging me, asking me about classes, and people would get upset if you didn't get back to them right away. You know what I mean? If you waited 1 or 2 days to reply, then it wasn't good customer service, right? It wasn't seen as good customer service. And
Yep.
so I got conditioned into must get back to that person right away. And oftentimes I'll see something and I'll message the person. I'll see the email and I'll message the person quick, like a text message or in Messenger, and say, hey, I saw your email. I'm just a little backed up here. I'll get to you as soon as I can, and just acknowledge that it was there, right? And let them know that, I've got a little bit of a backup and I will get to them in a couple of days. But I'm the same way. It's like this mental space, like you want your inbox to be clear. and open, and you don't want those emails to be sitting there. And sometimes, I'll be on a roll and I'll send tons of emails. Well, what happens when you send tons of emails? The responses come back. And so they all start flooding back and it all start to get overwhelmed and be like, oh my goodness, I sent all this work out and now it's flooding back to me. And it's just about really training your mindset and training your brain to be like, okay, it's okay that they're sitting in my inbox. There's other urgent things. I need to deal with those other urgent things, and then I can circle back to these things. They don't need to be done right away just because they're sitting in my inbox, right?
Yeah, inbox, the inbox. It's like the CEO paradise. The inbox is empty. That's heaven. That's gonna be our heaven.
Right?
But it's not necessary, right? And
Yeah.
and it all goes back to what you're teaching of me first. Me
Yeah.
first. We have to learn that, and it has been. I think our culture has not taught us that for a long time, so we need
Hmm.
to start spreading that I would not say technique, I would say lifestyle
Yeah.
of me first. Especially women, we are caregivers, we are caretakers, and we need to make sure that we are booking ourselves first in our life, in our passions are first, right? Our
Absolutely. And
desire.
yeah, and I mean, the fun thing about this, and the fun thing about how I coach families and help families come together in this way, is that we can show this to our kids and we can
Yes.
involve our kids in it. So my kids know, like they know my meditation so well that they can look out and see me sitting there and know, like, if I shifted from cross-legged to laying down, I'm in the second half of the meditation, so it's almost done. So they can, like, they're close to being able to, like, come out of their rooms or come into the room where I am meditating. And if they look out, they know, oh, she's in meditation. We don't go interrupt. They know that that's part of my self-care. My kids journal as well, and I started them at an early age. They write down their gratitudes every night, and when my daughter was too little to write them, she drew them. She would draw pictures of what her gratitudes were. So we can involve our kids in all of those things that we do for ourselves, and we can either have them understand why we're doing it and have them respect it, or we can involve them and have them take part in it as well. And I don't push. I talk to them about why I do it. Why do I
Mm,
meditate? Why do I do this journaling? Why do I have that bath every day? And my kids are like, well, I want to have a bath too. Can I have a bath? And my daughter's got some little lavender buds that she puts in her bath, and it's become a thing where everybody's like, and my son got in a bath once. It was so funny. We had gone to an exercise class together, and he was really sore the next day. And so I put him in a bath with some Epsom salts and a little lavender. And I had to ask him a question. So I peeked in and I asked him the question and just, checked on him to make sure he was okay. And he was like sitting straight up in the bath, not knowing what to do. And I was like, relax, like lay back, enjoy the bath. But he was just like sitting there going, okay, it's just going to help my muscle. And so it's about like teaching them those things too, and teaching them like, you're there to relax. It's okay. Lay back, enjoy it. Right.
this
And,
is
and,
awesome.
if we don't teach them that, if we don't teach them why we're doing it and how to do it and all of those things, then how are they to understand? How are they going to understand to let us
Yes.
alone for the meditation, or be quiet while we're journaling, or go do their own journaling at the same time? So
Wow, 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 wow. I have to see Storytime Yoga because everything that you're saying is inspiring me, and I want to get my granddaughter in it. So how do we know? How do we know when this is on? Where do we go?
yeah. For right now, if you go to Breathe With Me Yoga on YouTube, then you'll find the first 100 episodes there. That includes a 3-part series that was with the Giants and the Smalls book, which is an incredible, incredible book by Nicholas Smith.
Yes,
You know
yes.
Nick. We've
I
had
love that
conversations
book.
together. Yeah, there's an incredible 3-part series there with that book. But all of those 100 episodes are on my YouTube channel, Breathe With Me Yoga. So you can go there, like and subscribe. If you do go and like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, then you will get automatic updates every time a new video is posted. You can also check out my social media channels, Instagram, Breathe with Yoga on Instagram and on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and there will be announcements once it gets on into the in the Limelight channel. It is going to syndicate on the Pierce Media Group Roku channel as well. And then I'm working on some other syndications that are more global. So you'll see those announced as well. And once they launch on the TV channels, they will go to my YouTube channel. So if you check out my socials, you'll get the notification once they go to TV. And then if you like and subscribe to YouTube, they will all eventually get uploaded to the YouTube channel as well to see them after the fact.
That's
So,
awesome. That's awesome. We're looking forward to it.
yeah.
Oh, we got to the top of the hour. I want to thank you so much for making this happen, sharing this incredible information with us. I hope you guys out there are listening, keeping your ears and your hearts open. And I think what I can take from here today is the book me first. I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. I hope we all do it. We have to practice it more, and check out Breathe with Me Yoga. Breathe with Me Yoga on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
And subscribe. I'm gonna subscribe because I want to know when you're live, and support also the show. I'm looking forward to this. Is there gonna be a book of Breathe with Me Yoga?
Oh, I'm so happy that you asked that. So one of the projects that I do have, I've had it in the background a little bit. It's not going to launch until the TV show is, we're into a groove with the TV show, and it's running smoothly. But I did write a children's book.
Ah,
Yeah, and so it's actually gonna be a series of children's books. I initially wrote the book. It went to an editor. I got the editor's notes, and I decided to break it up a bit and turn it into a series. It's about superheroes and anxiety and how the our strategies that we use for anxiety are the superheroes in our life, and it's based on the strategies that my son used when he was little for his
wow.
anxiety. And you get to meet all of the superheroes and how to use those strategies to help with anxiety as a child or as an adult. It works for everyone. So
Wow.
there'll be a whole series of those children's books coming out once Storytime Yoga is underway and running smoothly.
This is awesome
Yeah.
and something else to look forward to. So
Yeah.
exciting. Congratulations again.
Oh, thank you so
And
much.
I'll keep following you, and I invite everybody out there. Let's follow Breathe with Me Yoga, guys. So much for our kids and our grandchildren also, for those grandparents out there. Thanks so much, Melissa, for being with us. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and thanks everybody for watching the Wellness Journey. For those who are in the podcast, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for listening and tuning in to us. And until I see you next time, stay inspired.